Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to be doing a Amazon book haul. I have picked up quite a few books over the past couple of weeks and I wanted to share with you guys the books that I picked up. So let's jump right into it. All right, y'all. So the first book I picked up is called Only for the Holidays. Yep, Only for the Holidays by, I am not going to butcher that name, but I'm going to hold it up so y'all can see it. And let's read the synopsis. First, I know that it's not Christmas, obviously, but I want to get a jump on books to read during Christmas time or before. Because who says you have to read a Christmas book at Christmas time? You can read it anytime you want. So, A Winter Ball, Two Single Strangers, The Perfect Romance. City girl Tia is on a break with her boyfriend. The last thing she wants is to spend 2 weeks in the countryside. Country boy Quincy and his family run Sand Hedge Farm. This year they're hosting the town's winter ball. Tia and Quincy don't see eye to eye until they realize they both have something to gain from feigning a relationship. But is there romance only for the holidays, or will real feelings get in the way? An enemies to lovers, fake dating romance with the promise of a sweet happy ever after. Honestly, y'all, I might read this before Christmas. Maybe around Thanksgiving or something, to get me in the mood. But this sounds fun. This sounds cute. And look at the cover. Look at that. That's so cute. Such a cute cover. So that is the first book that I picked up. The next book I picked up is called Funny Place by Emily Henry. I have been wanting to get this book for a long time. I just hadn't ordered it yet. And I had seen it in a lot of different places. Like every bookstore I went to had this book. But I decided to order it off Amazon. I don't know. I really can't tell y'all why. I know y'all already know the synopsis of this because it's going around BookTube, TikTok, everywhere. So I'm not going to bore you with the synopsis. But when I read the synopsis, I knew that I had to read it. I recently finished Emily Henry Beach Read, and I also have Happy Place. So I'm going to pick up Happy Place maybe before I pick up Funny Story. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Should I read Happy Place before I read Funny Story, or should I read Funny Story before I read Happy Place? Okay, the next book I picked up is called Ella Enchanted, and it's by Gail Carson Levine. And so I picked this up from Amazon. It is a hardcover book. When I first got this book, though, it was a paperback book, and I really, really enjoyed that copy. I'm pretty sure it is messed up. Like the binding was messed up, everything, because I read it so many times, and I wanted a copy with this particular cover on it. And if you know books, then you know that the covers of books mean a lot to the people who read them because it just gives you like a sense of familiarity about the book. But anyways, I'm going on and on. I said that because I recently ordered a paperback copy of this book from Thrift Books. And when they sent me the book, it was not the cover. It was not this cover. So I was immediately disappointed. So I had to order this from Amazon. But yeah, I've read this so many times. I just wanted the copy to have the copy. And then I was reading the actual other book that they got me. But every time I put it down, I'm just like, it's not the cover that I wanted. So I'm not excited to read it, if that makes sense. I know that sounds not good, but that's just how I feel. Okay, and next I picked up Out of Office, and this is by A.H. Cunningham, and it says a Harlequin novel. Not sure what that means exactly, but I will look it up after this. So the synopsis of this is Genevieve Raymond was born an overachiever. After opening a hot new hotel in Panama, she's on track for a major promotion. But first she needs a break, even if her overbearing mother doesn't approve. For two glorious weeks, Jen's giving herself permission to explore the beaches of Cologne and the attraction she shares with her sexy driver, Adrian Nicholas. After a family tragedy, Adrian's own focus has shifted to prioritizing the life part of work-life balance. To workaholic Jen, Adrian's laid-back devotion to his family's hometown hostel couldn't be more appealing. Their long-term goals might not align, but 2 weeks in paradise only calls for physical chemistry, and Jen and Adrian have got that without a doubt. So, wow, this sounds like it might have a little bit more spice than I would like, but the cover was beautiful, so I definitely could not pass it up. Look at that. It's so bright and sunny, so definitely had to pick it up. Also, this book is making its rounds on TikTok as well as BookTube. The next book that I have is called The Good Ones Are Taken by Taj McCoy, and I am so excited to read this, y'all. In a nutshell, as you can see the cover, it's her and there's two guys up there, and she's basically trying to figure out who she's going to choose. She decides to try online dating, and she, I believe, meets someone that she thinks might be a good fit. And then this guy on the side is like, no, because I'm in love with you. So yeah, I think this will be definitely interesting for sure. I am excited to read this one as well. This has also been making its rounds on TikTok and BookTube. So that is why I picked this one up. It looks so fun. It looks so fun. All right, y'all. The next book that I picked up is called The Hidden Life of Cicely Larson. And I picked this up because I actually saw the author of Did You Hear About Kitty Carr, Crystal Smith Paul. She had this on her Instagram stories, I believe, and she said that it was like a great read. So I'm pretty sure it's historical fiction as well. And y'all know that I am very, very much interested in historical fiction. Also, it looks like they're at the circus somewhere. So I was drawn to that as well. But I'm going to read the synopsis for you guys. 1924, 4-year-old Cicely Larson's mother reluctantly drops her off at an orphanage in Chicago, promising to be back once she's made enough money to support both Cicely and herself. But she never returns, and shortly after high-spirited Cicely turns 7, she is sold to a traveling circus to perform as the little sister to glamorous bareback rider Isabelle Dumond. With Isabel and the rest of the circus, Cicely feels she's found the family she craves, but as the years go by, the cracks in her little world begin to show, and when teenage Cicely meets and falls in love with a young roustabout named Lucky, she finds her life thrown onto an entirely unexpected and dangerous course. 2015, Cicely is now 94 and living a quiet life in Minnesota with her daughter, granddaughter, and great-grandson. But when her family decides to surprise her with an at-home DNA test, the unexpected results not only bring to light the tragic love story that Cicely has kept hidden for decades, but also throw into question everything about the family she's raised and claimed as her own for nearly 70 years. Cicely and everyone else, and everyone in her life must now decide who they really are and what family and forgiveness really mean. So this is definitely along the lines of Did You Hear About Kitty Carr? Possibly. I don't know. From the synopsis, that's what it sounds like. And anything like that, I definitely want to read. So I am super excited to read this. The next book I picked up is called Tell Me Three Things. And this is a repurchase for me. I had this book when I was in high school, or maybe not in high school. I had this book. No, I couldn't have had it in high school because of the year it came out. But I had this book definitely after high school. And I feel like this is one of the books that I read when I was in my early 20s. And I feel like I enjoyed it. But now that I'm thinking about it, like I don't really remember exactly what it was about. So I want to reread this now currently. And I'm just going to read the back for you guys. Here are 3 things about this book. 1 is sweet and funny and romantic. 2, the mystery at the heart of the story will keep you turning the pages. 3, I have a feeling you'll be very happy to read it. Okay, let me read the brief synopsis for you guys. Me, tell me 3 things I don't know about you, besides your name and, well, everything else. SN, which stands for somebody nobody. Okay, 1, I make a killer grilled cheese. 2, if you met me even a year ago, I was a totally different person. 3, I don't know, I may keep this one to myself. Me, come on, you keep everything to yourself. Somebody nobody. 3, I like you. Me, 3, I like you too. So it doesn't give us much to go on, but I do know that the main character just lost a parent, and so she's going through that grief. And I believe the other parent, which I believe is her father, decides to move them across the country and he also ends up getting married to someone else. And so it's a completely different environment for her. And yeah, she's going through that. And so she ends up getting an email one day from this person who calls themselves Somebody Nobody. And that is who she is communicating with, and one of her only new friends in this new city, town slash situation that she's in. So I am very excited to read this. All right, y'all. The next book that I picked up is called The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride. I've heard a lot of different things about this book. I've heard that it has different perspectives in the book, that it may be like a little confusing to keep up with, but I wanted to pick this up because it just seemed like a very, very interesting. I've never read anything by James McBride before, so I'm excited to jump into this one. And let me see, let's read a brief synopsis. In 1972, when workers in Pottstown, Pennsylvania were digging the foundations for a new housing development, the last thing they expected to uncover was a human skeleton. Who the skeleton was and how it got buried there were just two of the long-held secrets that had been kept for decades by the residents of Chicken Hill. The dilapidated neighborhood where immigrant Jews and African Americans lived side by side, sharing ambitions and sorrows. Chicken Hill was where Moshe and Shona Ludlow lived when Shona ran the Heaven and Earth grocery store, which served the neighborhood's quirky collection of blacks and European immigrants. Helped by her husband, Moshe, a Romanian-born theater owner who integrated the town's first dance hall, when the state came looking for a deaf black child, claiming that the boy needed to be institutionalized, Chicken Hill's residents, roused by Chona's kindness and the courage of a local black worker named Nate Timblin, banded together to keep the boy safe. As the novel unfolds, it becomes clear how much the people of Chicken Hill have to struggle to survive at the margins of white Christian America, and how damaging bigotry, hypocrisy, and deceit can be to a community. When the truth is revealed about the skeleton, the boy, and the part the town's establishment played in both. Okay, I'm not going to flip to the back because it was like a long synopsis, but that gives you an idea of what this is about, which sounds interesting to me. I forgot that it was two communities coming together, and this author is black, by the way. So I am excited to read this one for sure. All right, y'all. The next book that I picked up is called Missing White Woman, and it is by Kelly Garrett. And I don't remember where I saw this. I saw this definitely on a YouTube video. Somebody was going over books that they either picked up or read. And I saw this one, and it just looked very, very interesting. So let's read the synopsis. It was supposed to be a romantic getaway weekend in New York City. Brianna's new boyfriend, Ty, took care of everything: the train tickets, the dinner reservations, the rented 4-story luxury row house in Jersey City with a beautiful view of the Manhattan skyline. But when Bree comes downstairs on their final morning, she's shocked. There's a stranger lying dead in the foyer, and Ty is nowhere to be found. A black woman alone in a new city, Bree is stranded and out of her depth, especially when it becomes clear that the dead woman is none other than Janelle Beckett, a missing white woman the entire internet has become obsessed with. There's only one person Bree can turn to, her ex-best friend, a lawyer with whom she shares a very complicated past. As the police and a social media mob close in, all looking for pound justice for Janelle, Bree realizes that the only way she can help Ty and herself is to figure out what really happened that night. But when people see only what they want to see, can she uncover the truth hidden in plain sight? Y'all can't tell me based off that synopsis that you don't want to read this. It sounds crazy. It sounds crazy. Yeah, I've never read anything by this author before. I actually don't have an idea or clue as to what the person who made the video thought about this book, because I believe it was a book that they picked up. So I don't think they gave a review of this book. But I'll definitely have my thoughts about this whenever I read it. It definitely sounds like it will be a commentary on race, as well as the last book that I picked up, The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store. So I like to read stuff like that sometimes as far as fiction is concerned, because nonfiction to me can be a bit, not boring, but unengaging for me. So yeah, I like to read stories like this. The next book is called The Marriage Portrait, and this is by Maggie O'Farrell. Let's jump into the synopsis. Florence, the 1550s, Lucrezia, third daughter of the Grand Duke, is comfortable with her obscure place in the palazzo, free to wonder at its treasures, observe its clandestine workings, and devote herself to her own artistic pursuits. But when her older sister dies on the eve of her wedding to the ruler of Ferrara, Modena, and Reggio, Lucrezia is thrust unwittingly into the limelight. The Duke is quick to request her hand in marriage, and her father just as quick to accept on her behalf. Having barely left girlhood behind, Lucrezia must now enter an unfamiliar court whose customs are opaque and where her arrival is not universally welcomed. Perhaps the most mystifying of all is her new husband himself, Alfonso. Is he the playful sophisticate he appeared to be before their wedding? The athletic happiest in the company of artists and musicians, or the ruthless politician before whom even his formidable sisters seem to tremble? As Lucrezia sits in constricting finery for a painting intended to preserve her image for centuries to come, one thing becomes worryingly clear. In the court's eyes, she has one duty: to provide the heir who will shore up the future of the Ferraris dynasty. Until then, for all her rank and nobility, the new Duchess's future hangs entirely in the balance. Doesn't that sound interesting? It definitely does. The person who talked about this book said that she all out enjoyed it. And I'm not even one to read books that are like that far back in history, but this just sounded interesting the way she explained it. So I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to pick this up and I'm definitely going to read it. The next book I picked up is called The Plot by Jean Hanif Korelitz. Jean Hanif Korelitz. Not sure if I'm saying that correctly, but in a nutshell, I'm not going to read the back of this one because I know this is getting quite long. But this is about a teacher. He's an author. I believe he was an author first or a writer. He wrote a book. It did okay. And then years later, he decides to teach because obviously he needs to make money and live. One of his students tells him that he has a great idea for a book, lays out the plot for him and everything. And he's going to write this book and be a best-selling author. And the teacher waits for the book to come out because the student either leaves, ends up graduating, whatever the case may be. And he's waiting for the book to come out. The book never comes. He realizes or finds out that the student has passed away. So he decides to write the book. Why not? And so he writes the book, and then he receives an email, I believe, saying that he did not write the book and he knows their secret, or he knows this person's secret. So yeah, like it reminds me of this movie called The Words. I don't know if y'all have ever seen this movie. It's called The Words. I don't know. Honestly, I wonder if that movie is based on a book, but this sounds like similar to that movie. Anyways, in the book, The Words, in the movie, The Words, it is starring Bradley Cooper and Zoe Saldana. And Bradley Cooper is a writer and he finds a manuscript and he takes it as his own. And it goes downhill from there. So yeah, that movie was actually pretty interesting. It came out probably like 10 years ago, maybe longer. I don't know, 2012 or 2014, but very, very similar to this book, The Plot. I believe this also has a sequel. So if this is good, then I'm definitely going to pick up the sequel. I'm excited to read this. The next book I picked up is called Such a Fun Age. And this is about Alex Chamberlain. It says Alex Chamberlain is a woman who gets what she wants and has made a living showing other women how to do the same. So she is shocked when her babysitter, Amira Tucker, is confronted while watching the Chamberlain's toddler one night in the aisles of their high-end supermarket. The store security guard, seeing a young black woman out late with a white child, accuses Amira of kidnapping. A small crowd gathers, a bystander films everything, and Amira is furious and humiliated. Alex resolves to make things right. But Amira herself is aimless, broke, and wary of Alex's desire to help. At 25, she is about to lose her health insurance and has no idea what to do with her life. When the video of Amira unearths someone from Alex's past, both women find themselves on a crash course that will upend everything that they think they know about themselves and each other. And somebody said this was the best book of the year. I'm not sure when this came out, but I have already picked up this author's. It's by Kylie Reed. I'm not sure if I said that before, but I've already picked up this author's next novel called Come and Get It. And they both sound very, very interesting. Such a Fun Age sounds like a commentary again on race, which I love commentaries on race that are basically through a fiction book. So that is why I picked this one up. I am very, very excited to read this. All right. The second to last book that I picked up is called Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. And this is the third Abby Jimenez book that I've picked up. I've not actually read any of her books yet, but I've heard great things about this book. But I've heard great things in particular about this book, Part of Your World, as well as yours truly. I am excited to read this one. I'm not going to bore you guys with the details of this. This is a very, very popular book on every social media site. So I'm sure you guys know the foundation of this story is that both of these people feel like they cannot find love. And every time they date someone, that person ends up finding love. So then they decide to date each other and something happens. So yeah, I'm excited to read this very, very much. All right, y'all. And so the last book that I picked up is called Bamboozled by Jesus by Yvonne Orji. I am super excited to read this. I didn't even know that she had wrote a book. So I'm interested to know what it is about specifically. I think it is about her life, kind of like a memoir, and how Jesus bamboozled her into her dreams. I'm not going to read the synopsis for you guys, but if you know this actress, then you know that she became super popular on the show Insecure, which I love Insecure. And I wanted to know more about her in general. I don't believe that she's married. And yeah, very, very interesting. Also, interesting fact is that Lawrence also either is coming out with the book or came out with the book recently as well. And his is also a memoir as well. So I might read that as well. This, I love the cover because it's white and she's dressed in green. It matches like the wording. But yeah, I'm excited to know more about Yvonne Orji. I think she's an interesting person. I like memoirs. So those are all the books that I've picked up from Amazon. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was long, so if you're still here, I appreciate you so much. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.